I have some bad news. Only one brand this week. I know. I'll try to get to in one of the upcoming videos. So if you guys watched the last episode, the brand we're talking about today is actually the brand that I mentioned in that video that had to be cut. And I've been in the DMs with them since then. And unfortunately, they weren't able to answer all my questions and whatnot. So just my analysis and detective work will have to do. Also, if you haven't seen the last video or you didn't know that the number 4 down there means that this is part of a series, I'll put a link to the playlist in the description down below, so you guys can click that, and I'll also put the information for the brand's website and their Instagram. If you guys want to go support them, you can click on that. And the last thing I want to address is that some people were saying I look like a huge stoner, which isn't true. It's just from my crippling depression.
Who can say where the road goes?
Hey, cool, I'm dead.
Only time. And who can say?
So the first thing that sticks out about this brand is their use of The Simpsons, which they've actually gotten some hate for because of people trying to draw connections between the brand and things like hypebeast Bart. So the owner has actually responded to this hate with something along the lines of, "I'm just a fan of The Simpsons and I really like the aesthetic that they go for," so he wants to use that for his brand or try to capture that. Honestly, I don't really see an issue with this. It's just an unwanted relationship that some people might tie to the brand. Also, I feel like I don't need to state this, but the brand we're talking about today, Reynolds Clothing Co UK, is a UK-based clothing company. So we talked about the Simpsons designs, but the brand actually covers a number of other graphics which can be seen in their collection, such as cyberpunk, pixels, western, and then they have a couple more on their website as well. It also seems like they kind of began with embroidered designs that incorporated their brand logo in some way, but have since moved towards these just box embroideries that don't really include any branding at all. I'm guessing the reason for this is probably the box designs selling better than the branding logos or designs, because people might attach more to a scene rather than a brand that they don't know. And I also say this because the more recent you look, the more box logo designs there are until they just completely take over. So if you're wondering how the whole embroidery process takes place, they did put up a behind the scenes video that covers everything on their Instagram, and I'll put that up right now.
Very normal when it happens, and sometimes everything just goes down to a very basic level, and there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm tired of feeling the same, so find me waking up the world with a smile on my face. And I am letting go of anxious things I don't need to say. I don't need anyone's attention, I just need to replace. I'm finding what I can make. So if you're looking for a staple, you can get out my way. I just want the people around me to be stuck in their place. Don't need to stay so apprehensive if I just stay awake. If you need me or you don't, girl, say I don't need you, I need your world. Everyone is moving forward with a conscience and a cause plan. So give me more of what you wanted, give me what you never saw, and you wouldn't look me in what I meant. But it's alright if you need some more time to reflect on who we are in my head. I'll be frozen under sleep when I return. Like no, I can't keep it, I know you. To myself, I can't keep that, I know you. To myself.
So moving on, their first post was February 23rd, and the oldest Reddit post I could find mentioning them took place around the same time. So I would say it's probably safe to bet that the brand started either late 2018 or else early 2019. So the brand operates on a made-to-order basis, where they don't really carry much, if any, stock, and they just produce the items when somebody orders one. That being said, it takes them about a week to finalize the product after an order is placed, and then after that you also have to tack on shipping for the full time frame before you get the item. So this is the part of the video where we go and look at the brand's website. I don't know if you guys can read it, but it says Reynolds, then summer 2019, which they actually closed and just recently reopened with this. Like I said in the last video, there was a point probably like 2 weeks ago where they just took everything down, and I think their Instagram was even disabled for a little bit. If we look at the top, we have a couple different options to choose from: home, shop, collections, checkout info, measurements, shipping, and then you have a link to the Instagram, which we'll look at later. But first, let's talk about what's actually on this page. So we already stated that Reynolds is very big into The Simpsons, and the wallpaper on their welcome screen definitely enforces that. You have Homer sitting on the hood of his car, just looking up at the stars. So another use of The Simpsons, and especially on something as prominent as their homepage, definitely tells you how committed they are to the use of The Simpsons. So if we open up the store, click this open button, see where it takes us. So it takes us to their shop, where the aesthetic of the whole website has changed a lot. Instead of that Simpsons background, you're transported to a banner with some lightning, and then the background is white. So let's actually look at some of their products first. So you have the Stargazer hood, which is actually the picture we just saw on their home screen. So we won't look any more into that. Also interesting though, they left out their logo from this design. Then you have the Blood Swamp hood. And I don't really want to click on too many of these designs because a lot of them are shown off on their Instagram with a little bit better pictures. But we can just click on one of these to get an idea of what that looks like and any additional information that's provided. So when you do click on one of the pictures or one of the items, you are presented with a couple more options, or a couple more photos for the design. It's kind of interesting that all of the items are shown off with this kind of lookbook approach to it, rather than a lot of pages or a lot of stores that will do just a white background and a close-up of the design. Here we're really not getting too much of a close-up for the design. I mean, this is the best picture that we get with it. I guess you do have the zoom feature, which is pretty helpful. Definitely really zooms in for you. Apart from that, you can choose your size. Looks like we go from small all the way to XXL. So we have this this huge paragraph here, ends with Homer. This is a cemetery. So it looks like it's a quote from The Simpsons, and we get a description of the materials used. Heavyweight raglan sweatshirt, cotton, 350 GSM terry, 85% organic cotton, 15% recycled polyester, featuring premium double self fabric hood lining, clean proportions, and durable details. But yeah, like I was saying, you don't really get these pictures that show up close too well. Once again, we can use the magnifying glass, but this, it's almost too much. There's no really happy medium. It's either kind of too far out or, almost too far zoomed in. But yeah, they show off they've done a design on a backpack. This one's kind of interesting because it kind of branches off from their box embroidery designs, where you have Reynolds Clothing, the brand, and then some lightning. But like I said before, we will look more into their designs on their Instagram just because it is a little bit easier to see. And you can see the prices also vary quite a bit. 60 euros here, 40 euros for this one. I think it really just depends on how extensive the embroidery is, maybe how much is used and whatnot. I just wanted to showcase their products and give you guys a sense of what we're dealing with for the designs. A lot of backdrops like sunsets and things like that, some different scenes. So here's their Instagram. I guess we can just go through it like this. So this one has the description, can't sell this. Here's the Blood Swamp design that we saw earlier on their website. A lot of reds, obviously. The blood design almost looks like something out of Red Dead Redemption. Similar to a lot of the other startups that we see, Reynolds also does giveaways. Here is a look at another Simpsons design. This time it's, I believe, Bart's bedroom. Just looking down. I guess they don't really give us too good of a preview for that one. But then moving on, we see some more of the pictures that we saw before. These are the type of pictures, I guess, maybe that you would rather want to see on a website where it really gives you a good view of the design. So I think this is interesting. Like I was saying before, a lot of brands do this. They'll put the item on a white background, and here's just that. So I don't know, it seems like they just do like the lookbook pictures on the website, and then I don't know, I guess a little bit more of the sale pictures here. Beautiful embroidery of some skyline. I'm not sure which city, Burning City, Metro City. Here's one that's a lot different from the other stuff that we've been seeing. Got like a Glock or something just chilling there. But yeah, you see a lot of the same items that were on the website on their Instagram, obviously. Back on their website, we'll check out some more of the other stuff. You do have this collections tab, and you can click on, you know, some of their other collections. For example, we'll click the Simpsons collection, and it basically just filters out all the Simpsons stuff, obviously. So here's the info section. You know, it says that Summer 19 collection. Gives you their email for contacting, and it basically busts down the order process and shipping and whatnot. But I covered a lot of this earlier in the video, so I'm just going to move on. Here we have the measurements page, which is just pretty standard. You know, it just shows the sizes for tops. So here we have the shipping page, and it really just, you know, gives you all the shipping information, all the prices, depending on where you're at, what type of shipping you want. Do you want standard or tracked shipping? And then also, depending on what item you get, it's going to be a different price. Hat or smaller stuff, and then they have the hoodies broken up there also. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything for the website. So we'll get out of here, and I'll talk about some stuff that stood out to me. So Reynolds suffers from a couple things. Their website doesn't look terrible, but it could definitely use some improvement. The main issue I have with the website is that a lot of the items that are displayed don't really show off the designs the greatest, and it's almost better to go look at their Instagram than where you're actually purchasing the item to get a look of the design, because they are almost more close-up images. Another issue that the brand suffers from is how hard it is to find, or like their handles or URLs that they use. So I was trying to find their Instagram and I was having a hard time, so I had to actually go back to their website and just use the Instagram link because I was having a hard time finding it through the search on Instagram. One thing that's annoying is all the prices are in euros, which makes sense, you know, UK based brand, so it makes sense to have the prices in euros, but there's no conversion for euro to USD. You know, it's not very hard to implement a toggle that swaps between euro and USD, or set some kind of variable that decides that. Also on their shipping page, the information for the US shipping is also in euros, which I feel like isn't very helpful because anybody who's looking at that is probably paying in US dollars. But that criticism is just kind of like a nitpick. It's obviously not very important and doesn't hinder the brand in any way. The last piece of criticism I want to offer is one colorway that I really don't like. So this is the pink hoodie. This pink one looks like one of those Under Armour Heather hoodies, which always bugs me. But yeah, that's all for criticism. The brand is also similar to Dare Schuts, which you might see in a future video. The similarity comes in the form of how the brands choose to display their graphics in these embroidered boxes, which I don't really think is an issue because the brands kind of have these different themes that they go for. I feel like I always come off as hating the brands in these videos, or seem like I'm hating on them, even if I do like them. Like, I generally like this brand. I think it's cool. I think Reynolds does a really good job at choosing the scenes or graphics to use for their items. And on top of that, the embroidery is insane. Like, look at this video and tell me it doesn't look beautiful.
Very normal when it happens, and sometimes everything just goes down to a very basic level, and there's nothing wrong with it.
In addition, the items are fairly priced for the quality they appear to exhibit. Going forward, I would like to see the brand do some more designs that incorporate their brand name, but it does make sense for them to focus on what's popular or what they know will work. And I'm guilty of this too. Like, I was grinding out drop list videos for a really long time, and I decided it wasn't something I liked to do, so now I try to only focus on the ones that actually interest me. I guess what I'm trying to say is just make whatever designs you're passionate about, because that always results in the best work. So that pretty much wraps up the video. If you guys do enjoy what I'm doing here, you know, don't be shy. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, or don't do any of that. Just watching the video really means enough to me, so I appreciate it. And that is all, folks. Catch you in the next one.